Flutter helps you is with that is Flutter can project the has two separate apps out and up and running for you with a single code base. So the tiresome work of writing two apps is reduced. So when
So,
I probably saw made you uh, like you guys saw what the app we are going to make. I'll just have a quick I'll just write it a quick again, just a second.
okay, so basically what Flutter is doing is under the hood, it is converting the code, the Dart code into iOS specific, that is Swift, and Android specific, that is Java. So we write a code in a particular language which is getting converted to other ones and being run on both the platforms, which is why it is getting so famous these days.
Also, what Flutter does is that um, the code conversion is done instantly as you write code. So there is one more benefit that is probably the best feature Flutter provides is hot reload. That is, while you're coding, you don't have to dip, um, run like install the entire app completely once again to see the changes. There will be cases like suppose you have put out a color and you just don't like the opacity. For the small change, you don't have to install the entire app again. What you can do is just put out a hot reload option, which is small r if you are running from terminal, or if it's on VS Code, there are options out there, and it will do the necessary compilation, and the changes will be visible in seconds. So that is the best thing for developers, that you don't have to wait to see your code to work. You can just instantly see how it is working, and you can get it done. Yeah. So this is what we are going to make. Uh, it might seem really intimidating at very beginning because seeing so much of code, but as we go on and write, I'll tell you how easy it gets. So this is the Hello World program, and we start that. I'll be closing this one because I don't want to see what I'll be making. So what initially we want to do is the My App. When we come up and I'll just delete everything. Yeah. So it will pop up some errors because now My App is not declared. So when I tell you that how we are going to declare My App, because that will be a stateless widget. So we go on and write. Also, this is a case sensitive language, so take care of capital A's and small a's as you write. And even small spelling errors can cause a lot of issues because, yes, it's designed like that. So when we declare a stateless widget, the only thing that a stateless widget class needs is a build function that renders the basic widget on your screen. Yeah. So till now there would be a few terms like what is a material app or what is a context or anything, something like a spelling mistake in my build. But yeah, what is a context? Context is basically everything that goes on throughout the app. Something context is something that stores your state. Basically that. What is a material app? Material app is a there will be a lot of predefined widgets in your Flutter framework, because to provide help to you, there are stuff like buttons, there are stuff like rows, columns, everything is already defined so that you don't have to work from scratch. So a material app can be the beginning of the very material design of the app you are going to build. So when we come up here and we write the material app, what we will write here as our, okay, I'll show you what it does. There might be a little bit lag because of the stream and everything happening. So if I stop in between, do tell me. I'll write the basic initial code and that will help you to understand more and more. Yeah, and I'll tell you how it works. As I had told you earlier, there are two kinds of widgets, stateless and stateful. We'll use the stateful widget over here. The initial one was stateless because that would basically not have any of our functions. It is just a gateway to start. You see the word home over there? The word home is because it is the initial or the beginning of the route that we are supposed to add to our app. So when I tell you, okay, someone just scratched on the screen. It's fine, guys. It happens on Zoom. Okay, so when a stateless widget is there, it directly has a build method because then there's no need to put out what or how or when it will stop building because it will never change during its entire lifetime. But when you are putting out a stateful widget, it needs a create state method because now it will change for each time your context changes. So yes, I'll tell you soon how you'll get an idea. It might be going above your head for now, but I'll tell you soon. Wait, I'll just type out the basic code and let you know. Till then, anyone with any questions or anything can switch on their mic and speak because it is really difficult to look at the chat while I'm typing. So if in case anyone wants to ask something or point out anything, please do tell me. You'll be very soon clear what is happening out here. I see people on chat. Please, please, please unmute and speak. Yeah, so basically we'll run it initially. Let's see what happens. Yeah. So yeah, we have rendered a white screen all over. Is it visible for you guys? Okay, I'll just visit the chat. I guess there's something out there for me. Yeah, there's a question, why did you choose Flutter? Now, okay, why did I choose Flutter? See, I started my journey with Java, and from Java I shifted to Kotlin, and from Kotlin I shifted to Flutter, because my basic aim of shifting to Flutter was because it really fascinated me. I saw a YouTube video where, any of you guys have heard about Dream 11? Dream 11 is one of the very first apps to be developed totally on Flutter, and even uh, companies like Alibaba write their code in Flutter. Even Google Pay recently shifted to Flutter. So these kind of stuff, and it was really relatively new, and I wanted to learn it. Also, the existing support or people who are actively learning Flutter is really high. So basically, if in any case there is a problem you face, there might be a person out there who is either solving the problem or facing the same problem. So it becomes really easy to connect to people because this entire language is in a really growing stage right now. So what we have put out here is a white screen, because what we have done is, this is my main function. From the main function I put out a widget, that is my material app. The material app is the very beginning to um, uh, any kind of app that you want to render. It is the start point. You might be questioning, what is this debug show check mode banner? I'll show you. I'll turn it to true and see what it does. Yeah, since it's online, it takes a bit time. You guys can see a little flag over here saying debug. Yes, that is what this basically does. And if you don't want that on your screen, you just turn it to false. That is it. It's as simple as that. Now, from the material app, what is the home? Home is the beginning or the root where we want to display stuff. Now, this is a stateful widget. As I've very initially said you, what stateful widget does is, it has a create state method which renders another page. Now, what if I turn this to red? We will just play a little bit around here. Yeah, since it's a lot of load on my internet, it takes time. So pardon me, guys, if it is a bit slow. I'll just refresh it. Sometimes it's a bit of a mess because it's online compiler. Also, people might be thinking that, how does it compile online because the Flutter is not installed out there. I'll tell you how it does is convert the Dart code into a JavaScript code. For this online Dartpad, it converts into a JavaScript code, and after it converts it into JavaScript code, it's rendering on your screen. So it is basically Dart2.js for online platform. It's a very easy playground if you want to just experiment with Flutter. So yeah, the red screen is out here, and we can always see what we want. I put it as green now. So this is basically how it would work. Yeah, and it is green now. So instead of doing this entire thing, I can just give a background color to my entire page. Scaffold is what is entire page is. Scaffold has many features like navigation bar or a drawer or a app bar. Anything of that sort comes under the scaffold. I'll just a second. I'll just see the color codes that I used for my app which I built over there. Yeah, so this is it. We'll just render it again and see if we are getting the color code. It's still green because I hadn't removed the green from here. Yeah, and we see this is the basic that we wanted, the color that we wanted on our app. Now the question is, what do we want here? And we had, as we had seen in the initial part, that we'll be having a lot of small squares till half of the page, like not half, 1/5 of a page, and below there I want a button and my navigation bars saying how to play. So yeah, basically that is a column where the initial part is a grid and the later part is another container, or where I write my pardon my spelling mistakes. I'm not, if I'm not wrong, this is the spelling of column. And the basic part of column is that it has children as in what it will contain. So when I put out over here a container that is of color and a container that is of color red, I guess it should put out there. Yeah, let's run it and see what we get. What we are expecting right now is just this page entirely divided into half, upper part green and lower part red. Let's see if we are getting it or I have done some mistake. This is becoming a problem now when I have a slow internet. We'll run it again. Also, do not worry if you refresh the code if it is saved or not. It usually saves itself automatically. Okay. Is it just because I have given a background color? I'm nothing to not able to see anything. Now, if I have just commented out the background color and I'll run it again, all I see is white. I'm not understanding why. Let's just go out and do it because there's no background color. Okay, cool. I'm facing a small error. We'll just go along and fix it out. Okay, so now we'll okay, I'll tell you what an expanded widget is. Expanded widget is the widget that when we don't know what is the amount of space we want to give out on a particular widget, what we do is expand it. That is, cover the entire space that is available to you. So, and the flex is the proportion in which I want to cut out my page into. That is, I want my grid or the squares where the snake will move to be 4 parts and my control down there to be 1 part. So yeah, so when I put it out here as my child will be a grid view builder. Now what is a grid view? As the name suggests, it will build a grid out there for you. Now the errors will be pointed out on the right. So at one point, in case you have any, yeah, there's a question that is a difference between double slash and at the rate. Okay, there the at the rate is for override. What is override is if there is any sort of function with the same name, I'll just run this function over anything, or I just want this to, if there is somewhere I'll have written a build function out there in the same class, I want this to be built, this to be executed first, or to be displayed first, or Yeah, that is what override means. And slash is a is a comment line. When I tell you what comment is that line won't be read itself by the, what do you say, the compiler. That line is simply ignored. uh, what is the benefit of that line? That when you're working in a team and uh, let's let's just imagine you have done something and that is not understood to any other person, in commented lines you put it out there, ki this is so and so function, the purpose of the function is so and so. So it helps to convey the message if someone can't understand very much from the function, from what you have written as in the code. So when I come to the grid view, the first part is, uh, I don't want my uh, I don't want it to scroll down, or I don't want the grid where it exists to scroll down. So yeah, the physics of the grid view will be never scrollable scroll physics. It might seem really just like English because what you want is already available as a function ready-made for you. You don't have to um, put out any extra effort to write the function for out there. Now item count. When I how many squares in all I want. I haven't declared a function out there that what is the number of squares I want. I'll just write it over here that, okay, let's just assume that the square I want 500 squares, because I have no clue what I wish to have on my screen right now. I don't know how big the squares will get or anything. So I'll just put out this is it, that I want my number of squares to be 500. Now the questions would come that why didn't I directly write 500 over there and declare a variable 500 and then put it out there? Um, in future, in case I use the variable number of squares at 5 different places, and everywhere I write 500. So if I would have in future, if I want to change it to 600, I would have to change it at 5 different places, each to 600, 600, 600. But when I declare a variable out here, and whenever I want to change the value of the number of squares, I just change the value once, and it's reflected all over the place. That is why I prefer having a variable out here. So whenever we see that the same thing is used at multiple places, we declare it separately so that we can use it several times. Now, what is a grid delegate? So a grid delegate refers to what we display on a single line. What I want on single line is 20 squares. I don't know how long it will get, but I'll just display 20 squares on one line. So that is my cross axis count. That along this axis, what is my number of lines? Now, when there is a grid view, the dot builder, you see that whenever there is a build function like here, or even this is a build function, we need to return something, a widget that will be builded when this will execute. So similarly, even for grid view dot builder, we have to give out a build function, because now it will build what we want to when this will execute. And when I tell you why do we pass context in every time we build something, that is the basic purpose, because now it will help us to control the state of how to build this function. So yeah, and you can see here that it just puts out here that it should have a return type. You understand that again here we have to probably put out a return message. What I want is a container again. What is a container? Is anything which is empty for now and will be filled. What I want on my container is, I want a color on my container. Okay, I want a padding on my container. What is a padding? Padding is something that will um, give you a sort of margin when you're placing an element out there. Yeah. Am I still audible to everyone? Can anyone confirm? Hello, hello. Yeah, I guess I'm audible. I'll assume that I'm audible since no one is responding. So in that case, edge insets dot all of side 2, that is from all sides I'll leave a padding of 2, like 2 um, pixels or any that is what I'll leave a padding of. So now I'll just, whenever you want one widget, uh, in the very beginning I told you that there will be a hierarchical order. So when I tell you that you'll just present one widget after the other, you make one widget the child of other. So that will help you to uh, line those widgets. So when I tell what is a clip r rect, it is a short form of clip rounded rectangle. So initially when I make you see my grid, we see that the squares in which the snake moves are a bit rounded at the edge. So what we do here is make rounded rectangles with, it's really as simple as English, that what you want is a border radius. How much do you want is a border radius of all sides worth the radius of 5, and it's as simple as that. Now there is a child again, which will again be a container for me, that will have a color, and the color of it will be, for now let me put it as black, because why not. Yeah, now down there, what I want in my below there is just a second. What I want again is another container, which I'll again give a padding, because I want to I will write the word start over there and make it a button, so that whenever I click start, the work or the game will start. So previously we used padding from all sides. Now imagine a case where we want to give padding only to the horizontal areas. So what we do is similarly edge insets dot symmetric. I tell you, when I tell you that it's as easy as English, it is actually as easy as English. And give a a padding of 20 on each side. Now I put it horizontally. Horizon. I mess up with spellings. So, yeah. Horizontal 20. This is a small error, that when I told you that it will be a strongly typed language, we have to give out doubles out here and not integer. So it simply gave out the error that you are putting an integer where it demanded a double. Also, now I'll give a child to it, and it will be a center widget. What the center widget do is place its child at the center of whatever space is available for it. So there will be a text. The text will say START. I want to add a bit of style to my text. That will be taken as text style with font color will be colors dot white. Now font size will be, let's assume 30, and font weight B font weight dot bold. So yeah, when I tell you it's as simple as that, it is really as simple as that. So there are some errors, we'll just solve it out. Are we facing some error? Case we are, yes. I have missed a comma out here that has given rise to so many issues. And a comma out here. It says font color isn't. It says font color isn't defined. Okay, it's just my bad. It's just the widget is color and not font color. So yes, it will be fine right now. Yeah, we'll just run and test whatever is visible, or we'll see to it. Any questions for now? Just refresh it. So we'll run this. There was some error. We'll just wait for a second. As it says that there's some issue out there. It's oh, I just yeah, it's fine now. I'll just do a second. If I'll just check what the issue I'm facing is. There should not be any issue in this line, but yeah, I guess there was some syntax. Yeah, we'll run it and see if it's any kind of output we are getting. It takes some time. So yeah, we got our start button. It's not a button yet, but I hope it's really fairly visible that what we have wanted to build, and we are really close to it. Just see if there was a question. I'll just answer to that. Till then, in case you have any more questions, put it out as well. Okay. Thanks, Abhiva, for clearing that. I'll just now this is not the color that I wished for in for having my grids. I'll just bring out the color code that I wish to for here. Yeah. So in case wherever you want to put out a color and it is not a predefined color, what you can do is you can go from colors dot from RGBO, that is your hex. You can put out your RGB code colors, and the last O is for opacity. That is what opacity you want in here. So yeah, now what we want to show is a food square. That is one of the squares where the food will appear. So when we come up, the food must be a random square, because we don't know where the food will be for the next time. So what we do is we do a random. We use a function called random. It is from the core Dart package. That is from just a second. It's my bad. Just a second, guys. Yeah. Now, when it says like this, what we need to do is import the correct tool, because it needs a Dart package. And what is a package is it's a set of inbuilt functions that will remain. uh, that will be used for stuff like this, because when there is this math function, that will help us with the random keyword or the random function. What is needed right now, that this is a food keyword. So when I want to build my grid view over here, so I'll just check here that if the index is equal to food, which is how the index that I have declared over here, and then if it is equal to food, I want to build it as, I want to return a container with the similar properties. So I would prefer copying it out here because it would remain all in all same, just with some changes to make it look different. Yeah, that is, I'll just make this a bit more rounder, and I'll make this green. So let's compile it. And there was an error. We'll check out what is the error. Okay, it should be colors.green and not color.green. See, this is a very beauty of the code, that when the small stuff are used, you get to realize that even small mistakes can cost you a lot. So we can run now. Or is there still some error? Yes, there is still some error. Similarly, we have to put it out on snakes. I want the snakes to be white. So considering that my each axis for this grid has 20 squares, so what I can do is declare a position for snakes, where my snake positions will be indexes which are apart from each other by 20. So now when I go here, and what we have done is, if my index is in snake positions array, or I guess you guys know what an array is. For now, here in Dart, the array is termed as list. Even in Python, if you guys have used, if you know that what Python does is, even it uses the word list. So similarly in Dart also there's this word list, and why we have declared it all numbers with gap of 20 is because my one axis contains 20 elements. So each one will be to keep it vertically below each other, I've declared it as 20. So yes, this is my this is the snake that will be visible. Now the question is that when I click on start, I want the game to start, but whenever the game is on, I don't want the start option. What I want is the directions where we can play the game. So what we'll do is we'll create a Boolean variable, which would be show navigation. Show navigation. And it will initially put it to false, because now we don't want to show, because navigation, we want to show the button start. So when show navigation, what we'll do is, when show navigation, I guess you guys must have heard of ternary operators. You guys have any idea, or should I just give out a quick info what ternary operators are? Yeah, assuming there is no response from your side, I'll just tell you what ternary operators are. Okay, just a second. Yeah. Um, Anyone having any questions for what ternary operators are?
Give a bit of info. Asta will continue that.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. A ternary operator is like a conditional statement. That is, as we have seen that I have declared show navigation as a boolean. So if show navigation is true, whatever is after the question mark, that will be executed. But if it is false, whatever is after the colon, that will be executed. So when I'm putting that the game has started, it will show this container, which will contain my navigation options. And if the game is not started, it will show the text saying start. So our duty will also remain that whenever the game is started, to turn this show navigator to false. So yeah, what I want in this container is my icon buttons. So you can see that the icon buttons are basically in form of us for uh, what do you say, as your keyboard arrow keys. So we'll make something like that. So we'll declare a row, which will basically, the first one will be a icon button, which will be for I'll tell you how it works. So even as we had seen in column, it is very similar to that for row as well. Even in row there are children, and my first one will be a left arrow, which I'll write the code soon. The second one will be for my upward and downward arrows, and third one will again be for the right arrow. So yeah, this will be the basic containers of that row. So what we want is an icon button. Okay, for before that, I'll tell you what an icon button is. Icon button is basically it's a button, but instead of a text on that button, what we want is an icon. So if I put it out here and I put the icon over here, so okay, now for initials, I'll do that just a second. Yeah. So this is basically icon button. What we want is the icon that is headed backwards, that is a backward arrow, and I want the color to be white and the icon size to be 40. What on pressed, what that button will do, we'll write that code later. So similarly, let's just copy and paste this code for now. Okay, now when we put out the upward and downward arrow, we want it in a column. As you can imagine, there will be two arrows, and that is why we need it in a column. So we put it here. I mess up with spellings because I'm habituated to autocomplete by VS Code. So yeah, this is one arrow, and this is another. Again, similarly for the right arrow as well. Yeah. Now that was a back arrow, and this will be a upward arrow. This will be a downward arrow, and this will be a forward arrow, if that is what it is called. Yeah, that is forward arrow. We don't know what on pressed is, but let's just run this and see what we get. Yeah, Since it is still false, the show nav, we get this, and let's just turn it into true, and we'll see if we could get the four navigation keys. Yeah, it's really distorted now. We have to make it all right. We want it in the center. So what we'll do is in the row, we'll add alignment to it. That is main axis. That is main dot center. Yeah. Similarly, I'll add this to the column as well because it's again distorted. The column is distorted. We don't see it in the center. Let's just run it again. We'll see something better looking this time. Yeah, we can see that it looks probably a bit better. And if you have noticed, the food is changing its position each time we load it because of the random function that we have called. And each time we run, a new integer is applied for the food. So yeah. Now the question is, basically the size of computer screens for everyone will be almost the same. And we can see that it's not occupying 500 squares over here. What is occupying is at max 280, like 14 into 20, 280 squares. So we can just convert the number of squares here to 280 and even the random option to 280 so that it doesn't overflow. It won't show because what I've done is never scroll physics. So it won't scroll and it will occupy just 1/5 of the page because of the flex element. So you won't see the rest of the part, but it is there. Yeah. Now what I want is the direction of the snake. Now we'll get into the basic making of the game. Now the layout is almost done. Now we'll get to the direction of the snake. So let's just declare a variable called direction. And initially it will store down because I want my snake to move down initially. Yeah, so what these arrow keys do, so when you might have seen the word set state which I deleted or on pressed. So whenever we want initially when I told you about stateful widget, I mentioned that we can change what it displays with time because that is how it functions. So what we can do is a function called set state. The basic agenda of this function is to change the state and change the state and it will be saved in that way. And the build function, once the set state is registered, the build function will be made again, so the changes will be seen. Now the question is, will the entire build function be made? No, it won't. Flutter is optimized in a way that wherever the change is present, only that part will see the change, or wherever whatever we put in set state, wherever we want that change to reflect, it will just show us in that place. So yeah, now when we want, I want my arrow to be okay. So when I click the backward arrow, I want the direction to become left. So unless and until it's right, I'll change the direction to left. Because making a 180-degree turn won't be practically possible. So what it does is if you are in top or bottom, it will change, like if you're going upward or downward, it will move to left. Similarly, what my upward will do, that if we are not in down, it will change it to up. And similarly, because 180, I just missed the set state over here. Copy it entirely. Yeah. So unless you are down, the upward arrow will change it to up. Similarly here, unless you are up, this arrow will change it to down. And here, unless you are left, it will change, put it out to right. So that is what icon button do. So we have put out the basic alteration in our directions. So even for the start menu, like when I click start, I want something to happen. So when I want to add something to my any kind of widget, I want to make it a button, or I want to add it some kind of clicking or dragging or any kind of um, action in it. What I do is wrap it around a inkwell. As the name would be really confusing initially, but inkwell is something that would give you the gesture for either changing it or my bad, it will give you features like what will happen if you tap. So this will be on tap. So I want something to happen when I tap this very widget of my text, that is this text. And what will happen if I just tap this widget? For now, I have not declared what will happen when I tap on this widget because I haven't wrote my start function yet. I'll just go on to that. I want to write a start game function. I'll just write a start game function that I want to have, that I want to execute when this game starts. Start game, that will be a function that will take the number, or I'll just write the function first and then put it out here. Yeah, so let's just write the function initially. We'll write the function outside the build function, because declaring one function inside other might be really complex initially. So what we do is write a function outside the build function. That function will be start game. What I want in my start game is whenever that is clicked initially my start game, I want my snake position to be in default. I want this to become my snake position whenever I start game. Whenever I start my game. And similarly, when I now the question is, what do I want, like what is the time period I want for this game to take care of, like the how like when you see a snake game, when it is a hard level, the snake moves really fast, and but when it is a easier level, the snake moves relatively slow. So what we do in that for that is, let us consider a timer, and when after a particular time, each time the snake will update. So if you have turned a light, it will turn right after that particular timer only. So let us assume it is 300 milliseconds or 500 milliseconds. So after each 300 milliseconds or 500 milliseconds, the state will be rebuilt, because that is what I want initially. So I'll just copy it. For those who are thinking ki if they are facing problem to catch up, I'll give out the repo link probably towards the end of this workshop, and it has all the codes out there. You can twitch the code, change it on your wish, and in case you have some beautiful modification, please do tell me. We'll implement that code as well and push it to my repo as well. So yeah, first for timer, we'll just import a package, that is a code, that package called async, that is brings out the timer and all those functionalities. Initially that is showing a lot of errors for me. It says 13 issues, so it's a bit Yeah. So what we have done is we have declared a timer, a constant duration of 300 milliseconds for now. And just a second. Yeah, so this is a constant duration of 300 milliseconds. Now what I want to do is, yeah, so timer dot periodic is during that duration, what, like, till how much do I want to do this, like check it again and again. So whenever this is happening, what I want to do, so each 300 seconds, I'll check the state of the snake. So again, we'll use the same function called set state because we want to alter the state somehow. Now we want to alter the snake. What we want to do as soon as the game starts, we'll turn the show nav into true because now the game has started. Similarly, once the show nav is true, what else we want to do is, yeah, we want to have a function that will update my snake after each millisecond. Like either it is by the direction or it is by whether the food is consumed or not. We'll have update my snake function. But now, in case I need another function that in case my game is over. So I'll have if game over, that will take my snake position. And in case that game is over, I'll do something as in I'll cancel the timer initially because I want it to reset back to 0 again. And after doing that, what I'll do is again set state and make my show nav to false because now the game has ended and we want the start button again and not the show navigation. And we can also show a screen which probably will show which will tell us the score. So we want a screen to tell us the score. So for now, we have 3 works to complete and the game will be ready. Is that something that will update my snake, something that will tell me if the game is over or not, or something that will tell me to score? The 3 parts. Let's start with something that will tell me whether the game is over or not. When we see this, how I want my game to be over is when the snake overlaps on itself. That is, two positions, two parts of the snake's body have the same index. To be simpler, in this array, we'll get two places where we have the same number. So it is very basic of how to check if two numbers have the same, if an array has two same numbers or not. We'll go a very traditional way to check it, that will iterate throughout the array once. And in case we, yeah, so if here you can see if the count is greater than or equal to 2, that is, if the snake has overlapped itself somewhere, it will return true, that is the game is over. And if it returns false, that is the game is still going and there's nowhere the snake overlaps itself. So one part for it is done. Now let's write a program that will update my snake. So when I want to update my snake, what I want basically is if the food is consumed, it will give me a new food. Also, if uh, it reaches to one side of the screen, it should emerge from the other side. And this should happen with all these sites, that if it goes on right, it will update itself and come out on left. And if similarly it goes down, the snake's other half will come out from the top. So yeah, let's try. I'll basically put the code out here and I'll make you understand how it works. So just a second. So what update snake does it that it takes the number of squares in the grid, which for now is 280 because 14 into 20. It takes the snake's position, that is this array. Also, it takes the food index because it will update the food, and it also takes the direction in which the snake is moving because that is how we will check it out. So in case the direction is down and the snake is moving down, what it will do is, if it is the last square out here, then it will add the number of squares and it will emerge from here. And otherwise, it will just add one more here and increase the snake. Similarly, there's a code for moving it upwards while the snake is moving upward, while the snake is moving towards its left, while the snake is moving towards its right. Similarly, what we basically do is, after when each time an update is called, what we do is move this in one more bit in that direction in which it is at present. So what it does is add one uh, box or add one white box over here. But for it to see moving, we need to remove here as well, unless and until the snake has consumed its food. So when the snake has consumed its food, what we do is generate another food and do not remove the zeroth index. What we do is, when in case the snake has not consumed any food, what we do is add a number at the sixth index and remove the zeroth index. So basically now initially the snake was from 0 to 5 is from 1 to 6. But in case the snake has consumed the food, so what it will do, the snake will be from 0 to 6. So it just seems that the snake's length has grown. So this is it, what it does, and it generates a new snake's food over here. And when we call this update program, it will do the needful for us. Where do we want to call it? It is here. That is update snake. And what parameters does update snake take? Update snake takes the number of squares, that is here. Also, it takes the snake position. Also, it takes the food integer and the direction. There is a bit error, but there is an extra parenthesis somewhere at the timer. Just a second. Yeah, it just sorts out everything now. We need something here as well. Oh shoot. It does solve. Thank you, Chinmay. And now we need, since the update snake function is done, we now need to way that we can tell the score when the game is ended. So what we do is we declare another function that is, what do we name it? We name it show game over screen, because why not? Show game over screen. Yeah, it's a function, and what we need, it's, yeah, let's just decide what it returns. What we want it to do is show a dialog box. So Flutter has already a function that does this for us, that is show dialog, and just do that. And when we, yeah, what in the show dialog we do is we return, it has parameters like when we want a context, because we'll pass out the context of that state. Also we want what we want to display out there. So similarly, as it had a build, everything has a builder. We'll just add a builder over here. And similar to every other builder which we have previously used, it takes a build context and a context, and what it returns is, yeah, what it returns is a alert dialog. If I'm not wrong, this is the spelling. Yeah, it returns an alert dialog. Alert dialog is basically a message or a pop-up that comes up on the screen. In case we lose the game, you will see one for yourself. What in the alert dialog we need is a title that says, that is a text which says, just a second, which says game over. Now the fact that we want to style the text will still remain the same. That is, we put style and then text style, and how we want it to go is, let's just, since everything is happening on the dark color, let's just put this as colors dot white, and font size as 30, because yeah, what we want to be displayed as a score. Yeah, what do we want the content of this dialog box? We want a text again which says your score is, and as we have seen earlier how strings work, we can just add two strings with the help of plus symbol. And what do we want as our score? This number of the score will be the number of the food that the snake has consumed. So it will be snake position dot, the snake position is the array that we are using over here. So it can be snake position dot length minus 5, because initially only it was 5. So what we put is a snake position dot to string. This is an inbuilt function that Dart provides, is converting it, convert any data type to string, and it helps to display. So similarly, when we put it this. It just converts the integer because we know that the length will return as integer, and we want to convert it into a string and display it out there. Yeah, so this again, we want to style that all same process. Text style, which again will have a color, that is colors dot white. You can give any color you wish. It also gives suggestion. When you can see, there are suggestions of white 10, white 12, white 24. Those are whites with 10% opacity, 12% opacity, 30% opacity, or as it goes. The number beside it is the opacity of that color. So, and the font size, my bad, I wrote color. Font size, let's just keep it 24. Since it would seem really bad indentation, let's just format it. Yeah, and it's all beautifully indented right now. So now what do we want? We want to give a button of something of that sort of play again. So we can give it is under the form of actions, that is the actions that we want to perform as. It can have multiple buttons, so it just gives us we can give out a list of actions that we want to perform. So what do I want over in actions here is a flat button. Bad. A flat button that again has a child, which is a text which says play again. So when initially I told you how a button works, is a button is a widget and the text written on it is also a widget. This is that thing that we can see. The flat button is a button, the text written on it is another text widget. So it can similarly go on like that. Again, what we can do is on pressed, that is what will happen when this button is pressed, is another function. I guess we are missing the comma out here. Yeah, what we can do is we can again set state because we want this widget to build itself again. What do we want is we start the game because it's play again. So we can call this start game over here, and we can call this start game. And after calling start game, what else do we want? That we want the alert dialog box to close itself. That is, we want the screen back again. So what we do is navigator.off. This is a code that helps us to push to pop back whatever to the back screen. Like pop function works as when there is a series of screens you want to display, one screen after other. What pop function does, it just to push back to the back screen or the previous screen. Okay, this is a really silly mistake. I wrote navigator as navigator. So yeah, this will be fine. Don't think there is any more errors. We'll just wait for it to set itself. I guess there is something which is yeah, this is it. won't be an issue now, I guess. Okay, there are errors. We'll solve it out. We don't want the number of squares here. Yeah, so all the errors are solved. Let's just see if it works. Okay, there's a slight mistake we did. We initialized the navigation as true. We'll put it out as false and we'll run it again. Yeah, so let's see if it's working. Oh, okay. I did not add a functionality to the start as thing. Yeah, I did not. I'll just click start game when it begins. And just a second, guys. It will work. Now let's just run it again if it works. Yeah. Yeah, we can see the snake moving and all this working. Yes, we have made it. Yeah, I'm really bad at this game because I think we can. Yeah. Okay. There's a slight issue that is happening. Just okay. It's just covering itself. We'll solve it. Let's a bit of issue. Let's check it now. Yeah, it's working. And I am not understanding why the food is still on the same place. I'll just check it again if yeah, there is some issue that is happening. Yes, we are not changing the food over here. We will, yeah, each time the snake eats the food, we have to change the food as well. Yeah, it's perfectly working fine now. Thank you everyone. In case anyone has any queries, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help. Also, for people who will be seeing this on YouTube, I want to say it to them as well. In case you have any queries, do reach out to us on DSC's Insta, or if you can text me as well. I'm always available to help. Yeah, or leave a comment on the video. Anyone who is available will help you out. So thank you guys.